We are going to guess that many of you watching this clip immediately thought of Kong. Your opinions started to get shaky around this moment. Immediately, you would have probably thought two things. This is one, either Kong got really old and we are looking at a scene that takes place in the future, or two, this cannot be Kong. We are really quick going to drop a disclaimer here that says all ideas, theories, and guesses discussed in this video are pure speculations, based on what we currently know about the Monsterverse and what is shown in this title reveal trailer. Having said this, we are going to side with number two. This is probably not Kong. Why? Well, let's break this creature down even more. The first thing that we learn from this animal is that this creature's eyes glow with a blue color. This isn't necessarily an attribute of the Kong species that we know of, as we have seen many depictions of adult Kongs without these glowing eyes. The next clue is its corporal appearance. By increasing the exposure in this video, we find that this seems to be an older Titan. Its head seems to be lacking some hair on the top of its skull, possibly because of its old age. Additionally, this animal does not seem to have the corporal mass of a healthy adult Kong, given that its arms do not have anywhere near as much muscle mass as Kong's. Also, we find that this particular Kong has what appears to be orange or reddish colored fur. We know what some of you are thinking. This sort of fits the description of an orangutan. Which brings the next question, what really is this thing? And can we really call this a member of the Kong species? Well, here's the thing. First and foremost, it is important to remember that it is absolutely absurd to think of the Kong species as a group of titans that look exactly the same way. Similar to us humans, or really any other animal, it is completely unrealistic to assume that every single animal will come out the same shape, color, and size. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this creature is not a Kong. This physical appearance does lay bare the fact that it is a titan of old age, someone who is much more ancient than Kong. Admittedly, this titan's worn-down appearance makes it seem like it should have died of old age a long time ago, but it hasn't died yet. We'll discuss why that may be later in this video. Right now, we must determine if this thing is in fact a villain, and we are going to say yes, it probably is. Before the title is revealed, we see the camera back away from this titan and past two skulls, both Godzilla's and Kong's. Once again, reinforcing the theory that this guy right here is actually a third character, and it does not look like it's been up to any good. In this instance, it looks like Legendary reversed their methodology in revealing the bad guy. In GVK, Mechagodzilla was revealed towards the end of their marketing campaign. Here, we might be looking at the opposite. But why on earth would we have another ape face against Godzilla and Kong? Didn't Godzilla already prove to us that he can defeat a Kong with atomic breath or in melee combat? So far, the arena looks like this: a giant atomic lizard and an incredibly intelligent ape going up against another old scrawny ape? On paper, this may seem pretty unfair, unless there is something we don't know about this bad guy that may level the playing field. This may be answered by a small clue in the trailer: the eyes. Oh yeah, we're going to delve further into this detail. Like mentioned before, this would have been the first time we see a Kong with glowing eyes, but not just any color. They glow blue. Why is this important? If you recall, the Hollow Earth is abundant with a certain type of energy, so plentiful that it can be seen with the naked eye, and it glows blue. Now remember, in this film's synopsis, we are told that Godzilla and Kong will join forces to go against a common foe. So this means that this ape has to be strong enough to take on and outsmart both of these titans. This then in turn leads us to believe that this glow is in fact an indicator that this Kong is capable of doing things this Kong cannot do. Remember, this is most likely an ancient Kong, an individual that has lived long enough to perhaps harness the energy of this place, leveraging it to allow it to live a long time. Longer than it should, or perhaps even weaponize it. So what weapon could this animal possibly possess that can stand up against, I don't know, atomic breath, for example? Imagining a Kong spitting out atomic breath is, quite frankly, a bit silly. But given that the Monsterverse movies do tend to reference the ancient iterations of Titans, we might have an idea of what this OP Kong is capable of doing. A long time ago, back in 1962, in King Kong vs. Godzilla, Kong was given an ability that was able to give pause to the big scaly lizard. If you recall, Kong happened to get electrocuted by lightning, thus allowing it to then redirect this energy into its hands, giving giving it an edge in close combat. Similarly, this new creature could have found a way to incorporate these energy-rich attributes into its own body, whether it was by exposure causing mutations, ingestion, or whatever means necessary. This energized weapon could take form in many ways. This is unknown, but most likely redirected to whatever body part makes contact with the enemy, such as its hands, legs, probably even its teeth and skeletal frame. The point is that this Kong most likely has an edge over these two kaiju, but it probably won't end here. Some of you may think that physically speaking, this scrawny animal would still be too weak to actually defeat two robust alpha titans. The truth may surprise you. You may think that skinny always means weak. Well, guess again, and we'll use orangutans as an example. Although their arms seem to lack muscle mass, these are actually extremely strong. This is because these have evolved to have high-density musculature on their forelimbs, but also something known as fast-twitch muscle fibers. These special adaptations allow quick, powerful movements, insanely strong grips, and most importantly, devastating impacts. Also keep in mind that strength alone does not win you a fight. Apart from this thing being deceivingly strong, it's also very likely that this kaiju has mastered fighting technique, as it's most likely extremely battle-hardened as well. This is further implied by the red war paint that can be found on this creature's face. It's possible that he has taken part in the murdering of other titans in the past. This is of course deduced by the vast amount of skeletons laying in front of it. Over its long life, this Kong would have possibly even partaken in the Great Titan War, perhaps even figuring out how to kill a few Godzillas himself. But why would a member of a Kong species even turn against one of his own? We'd like to think that this trailer carries a lot of implied meanings, one which may give us a clue on why this Kong would turn against a member of its own kind. This guy is standing on top of many different types of skeletons, from Kongs, Godzillas, to even these different bones reminiscent of this skeleton seen in the previous film. Additionally, we know that this film was going to also be called Origins, so if we connect the dots, we could assume that we are looking at one of the last remaining troublemakers that maybe instigated the war between Kongs and Godzillas. Anyone who was not with them was against them, Gojira and Kong alike. We are starting to see that Kongs aren't really that much different than human civilizations. In the next film, maybe this bad guy sees that Kong is aligned with the G-Man, causing a conflict against both Godzilla and Kong. How would Godzilla react to this situation, though? Would Godzilla now consider Kong as an enemy, at least for a short period of time? Perhaps. The title tells us everything we need to know. Instead of Godzilla and Kong, this is now Godzilla X Kong. This X in the middle now carries an ambiguous meaning, something that fits the description of these two titans temporarily having a dispute, but perhaps later joining forces once again. But there could still be even more to this. Another explanation on why this particular Kong is turned on its own kind would be because there could possibly be other forces at play here. We must tread carefully with this one, but remember, the synopsis did say that there is a huge, colossal threat that is hidden within our world, one that threatens the Titan's existence and humanity alike. Back to this animal's glowing eyes. Apart from this being an indicator that this thing possesses something different that distinguishes it from a regular Kong, perhaps it's an indicator of other influences meddling with the mind of this creature. Who knows, but Legendary could maybe be pulling off another twist here. It won't be too far-fetched to see another even greater force behind all of this.